Hello there, Kia ora. It doesn't take a genius to see our health system is in trouble. It feels like it's being set up to fail, with privatisation being the end goal. We've already seen comments around how, well, we might have no choice but to accept it because the people in charge, the ones who have links directly to private health providers, have told us it looks like the only way to save the system. After all, it was just last week that Health NZ was urging the government to look at private-public partnerships to save the Dunedin hospital. And because the government keeps bringing up other hospitals that need work, like Whangarei and Nelson, well, why wouldn't we think that privatisation would help them as well? Look, none of this is a surprise. Actors long pushed for these kind of partnerships despite all the evidence that they cost more and deliver less. But there's another tool in the belt of those pushing for this that they've been using, and many haven't picked up on it. It's the language they use. You see, we keep hearing about deficits in budgets, shortfalls in available funding for, well, everything. It's very selective language designed by those that push it to make us consider Health NZ funding in terms of a business or household budget, which it clearly isn't. Shortfalls in finances for a core service is an issue with under-allocated funding. At the budget in May, for example, the government promoted the increase they gave to Te Whatu Ora as the biggest budget they had ever had. And that's technically true, but it equates to a 0.6% increase on the last annual budget, when inflation nationally was sitting at around 5% and medical inflation was even higher. That's what economists call a real-world funding decline. Even if you compare our expenditure on health compared to other OECD countries, you'll see it's comparatively low, and it has been for decades across successive governments. So what we're seeing in the healthcare system is a systemic problem that's being made worse by decisions that this government and its proxies have made. But don't worry, they can talk about it like a business and slip in new phrases, like the one that Lester Levy used on RNZ this week. Gone is the no frontline staffing cuts, and in its places, no drop in frontline expenditure. It's another line that sounds sort of fine and kind of the same, but it doesn't take into consideration the steady salary increases that are needed to maintain staff as the cost of living's gone up. A cost of living that's been exacerbated so much by this government that the Reserve Bank felt forced to drop the official cash rate by 50 points this week to help people increase spending because it had been throttled too much by fiscal policy and decisions which have seen catastrophic levels of unemployment and loss of income. So saying the amount they're willing to spend on keeping good staff and adding to them won't change is another cut because they refuse to fund frontline staff properly. Complain that there's too many in the wrong place, not enough people leaving soon enough, and that there's also no technical hiring freeze for those frontline staff despite all the evidence that it is clearly something that's happening. When the reality is this could be avoided if the government had actually funded this core service properly, right from the beginning. But there's tax cuts to pay for, so our health sector and economy will have to suffer a little while longer. But it's not all doom and gloom. Apparently, Health NZ will be out of deficit by next year, once again implying it's a business and not severely underfunding a piece of core infrastructure for the country. Ooh, a fancy transition. Look, this week we're not doing a full Behind the Walls live on Friday night. Blake and I are having a bit of time off. But on Saturday, we're doing a special live discussion for YouTube members with political commentator Matt Tukaki on YouTube. You can head over to the channel to join us from 8 p.m. when we're going to look at the aftermath of the working group debate. And members can ask him some questions like, why do some people refuse to believe Māori never ceded sovereignty? Or why do some people think David Seymour is good because he annoys people who don't think the word woke is an insult? Or why do some people refuse to actually accept history and the documents that we've got and want to find ways to delegitimize them? So come join us 8 p.m. Saturday night on YouTube. Join the conversation. Might have a little surprise lined up for you afterwards as well. So go check out those links sitting in the bio at the moment. Wait, we're still here? It's over. Find another video.